Hi guys, it's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins.
Does this make me the Brian Keith?
Yeah.
Surly and cranky
Well,
and
Big
respect.
Bill. You could be Big Bill. That's you. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah, Dynamite Show. I want to thank you all for joining us here live on YouTube, and for those listening tomorrow on the Fight Game Media audio feed. Thank you again. And man, Jeff, we're gonna talk about this show, and I'm afraid to tell you that starting next week you might have a little bit more work to do, and we'll get into why that is when I recap the show.
Math? I'm hoping it's math.
Not math.
Okay, darn.
But I wanted to say I'm still catching up on my wrestling from being away for Double or Nothing, right?
Sucker.
Yeah, so and the Best of the Super Juniors is going on right now, so I'm trying to watch all those matches, and I'm literally only up to May 26th, I think was the last show I watched. So I'm trying to watch everything in order. So if there was like a Best of the Super Juniors show on the 26th, and then there was like AEW on the 28th, well, then I'm watching that. I'm watching them in order. Now, of course, Dynamite I'm watching because of the show, but I just finished watching the Rampage before Double or Nothing. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. I haven't watched last week's Rampage yet. I haven't watched last week's Ring of Honor yet. I haven't watched Collision yet. So I watched Dynamite.
You're absolutely screwed when the G1 comes around, my friend.
Well, hopefully I'll catch up by then. Well, no, because the G1 it's only 3 or 4 matches a night. These Best of the Super Juniors, 10 matches some shows. So anyways, I haven't watched any AEW, like current quote unquote AEW, since last week. Like I watched the Rampage from before Double or Nothing, and I watched a couple of the matches on Collision that I wanted to watch again. And I watched Ring of Honor. That's all the AEW related content I've watched.
Okay.
So when last week's Dynamite was over, all I had was what they announced for this week, which was nothing. So
I got news for you. You know what they announced for Collision?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Right. But when this show started, the show starts, and I knew MJF was coming. That was the one thing I remembered from last week, because that's all they advertised. And honestly, that's all they need to advertise. MJF is back. That's a draw, you know?
Came in, I guess he brought his girlfriend since he did a backstage segment.
Yeah.
For the internet.
Yeah.
Or at least.
And he buried all their top talent, which we'll get into in a second. But my point being, I found out at some point, I'm not sure exactly when they told us. It wasn't early. Or it was when they did the Roderick Strong video package. I'm like, wait a minute. Roderick Strong is getting a title shot? The last time I saw him, he was getting pinned by Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing.
Yes.
I have no idea why he's getting a title shot. Now, don't tell me why, because I actually do know why.
Okay.
But just watching the show, I have no idea.
Correct.
They didn't tell us.
Correct.
They didn't show us highlights.
Correct.
As the world title match was starting, they mentioned a win that he got on Saturday. They didn't tell us who it was over. I assume it was a number one contenders match. I do know. It wasn't.
Okay.
He beat Lio Rush, which they didn't bother telling us. They didn't show highlights of. And it wasn't a number one contenders match. The point was Lio Rush was in the gauntlet, and Roderick Strong was allegedly the 10th person that was scheduled for the gauntlet, and he never got to come out. So somebody gave him a title shot. I don't know who.
So do the other 11 people that were allegedly lined up but didn't get a chance to be in there, do they get title shots too?
I don't know. Was that how many there were?
They said that there were 21 people.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so maybe that's probably next week.
No.
Well, when I
because the idea should have been that the other 11 people are beating down Tony Khan's door going, what the hell's that?
Or, next week I'm going to tune in the show and I'm going to see Swerve Strickland versus Penta. Because Penta was number 12.
I don't mind giving Roddy Strong a title match on television as a general a theory.
Okay.
But the problem with expanding these pay-per-views in terms of now we're doing 9 a year is this thing needed to be built up on television for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then they can do that climbing to the mountain thing. They can talk about his setbacks of losing the international title.
How about one?
And then we can do it. I mean, just have them cut promos on each other for a couple of weeks as a television thing while you're building up the pay-per-view match. That's all they have to do here.
Or one, just one. They could have told us last week.
Yes. No, I agree.
And that's my whole point. Like, and whatever, it means nothing.
They don't care, Paul.
Someone on Twitter actually went through the trouble to search my tweets to see when the last time I mentioned Ethan Page was, because Ethan Page is getting a title shot on Battleground. And then I'm like, you know what? You just stepped in it, dude, because Ethan Page showed up on NXT. He attacked the champion. He asked for a title shot as a condition of signing with the company. That all happened on TV. I didn't have to watch Twitter or alternate shows or Level Up to find out about all that. I watch NXT and I know exactly why Ethan Page got a title shot.
Okay, let me add an addendum to that, because you are correct in theory.
Yeah.
But also, if he's saying that that's a bad thing, then why is this a good thing?
Well, yeah, but I compared it to Mercedes. Mercedes showed up. She got a title shot. I didn't complain about that. Whatever. She's a big free agent. She gets a title shot. Hey, yes. It makes sense.
And she had a reason to get it because of the injury.
I mean, that was even better. I mean, there was actually a backstory in that case.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, everything. I mean,
but she got the title shot before we knew it was Mercedes.
They're building Dynamite to get to Rampage, to get to Collision, to then get to Dynamite
again. And that's a problem because nobody watches those shows.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, this week I think it was 250,000 people watch Rampage.
I thought it was Rampage. Okay, Collision was just over 300. It was like 309.
Just over 3, which is less than half.
And if you saw NXT's number, if I'm AEW, I'm a little worried this week.
Well, they'll beat the 18 to 49. They've lost in total viewers before, but
no, they haven't.
They have back when they ran head to head. They did. They did it a few times. It was 18 to 49 that they only beat them once, I think.
Okay.
In like 80 whatever weeks it was, 100 weeks, I don't know. I want to say 83, but that's Nitro and Raw. But I will say this time it feels more like one's going up and one's going down, and once they intersect, I don't think they're going the other way. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I want Dynamite to succeed. But
it'll be successful. It just may not be as popular.
Yeah, but I mean, once he signs that deal, and the numbers I'm hearing for this new deal, like, floor me. Like, if I'm Tony, I'm signing that thing like before they change their mind.
I would agree.
I've heard I think Dave said like people are talking about 110 million would be successful, and he's saying it's way over that. Which I'm like, whoa. Like NXT got 35 million. Now, granted, this is 5 hours as opposed to 2, but I don't know. But yeah, so I was a confused boy tuning into this show today and starting it off. And I had people messaging me that were at the show that didn't like it, which surprised me because these are people that really like AEW. But some of that was production. Apparently they couldn't hear the interviews in the building. So that might have explained some of the non-reactions we got from the interviews. But some of that backstage stuff was pretty bad anyways.
I would agree.
As we'll get to. Yeah.
There's way too much Chris Jericho on this show.
And the Elite too. Like, was there a stip? Did the Elite get to continue running the show because they won that match at Anarchy in the Arena?
You're expecting it's weird because this was the week they decided to expand plot. Yeah, about the Elite, and they've been running the show for 4 or 5 weeks already. It was very odd. I found that odd.
But Tony,
there was no stipulation.
Tony has Christopher Daniels running the show, I thought. So
he has been put as an equal to the Bucks by Tony Khan.
Okay, so they're all running the show.
Yes,
including Tony Khan.
Well, the Bucks have taken over the live production of it, but it's Tony Khan's money, so they have to keep him around. Wasn't
he on one of the shows on the weekend? I didn't watch it, but I think
he almost got hit with a flamethrower, as I recall. Oh yes, no, he was in that segment where he was corpsing.
Okay, like he was involved in getting Roddy his title shot, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's very confusing, and
I agree.
Yeah. So
the narrative through line is leaving something to be wanted on this Elite story.
Yeah, it doesn't quite make sense, but. We started the show. I don't believe we got any opening credits or music or anything. It was MJF, and he comes out. Fans are chanting, "He's our scumbag." He says, if I look a little red-eyed, it's because we're in Loveland, Colorado, in case you didn't know. And the fans started chanting weed. He starts plugging his merch.
Slow down.
Okay.
Allow me this.
Okay.
So we've gone from MJF is just going to be all about hate.
Yep.
Back to doing the wacky stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out, that that the tonal shift since last week is back to square one.
He's basically doing the character he was before he got to Adam Cole.
Yes.
I mean, he's a heel now. Like, I don't know if the fans have figured it out, but he's definitely a heel.
No, he's not.
I think he is.
Well, he is in some ways, but he's playing tweener.
But I mean, I don't believe in tweeners, so.
Okay.
Anyways, he says that he's done plugging, but then he plugs Forbidden Door. He says, I'm probably going to be wrestling a random guy from Mexico or Japan, but order it on pay-per-view. So he's basically burying the concept of the show.
Yes.
He said, I've been sitting at home, recouping my injury, watching children make bold claims on my show. One guy says he's the Rainmaker. The guy can't afford a gym membership. I'm like, whoa, okay. He said another guy is swerving around. He calls himself the leader of the Mogul Embassy. Hell of a leader. They turned on you and whooped your ass. And you referred to yourself as a business mogul. Well, business moguls tend to go to business school. And if you did, you must have skipped your public speaking course.
Yes.
So did I. So he's bearing baby faces here. Well, I guess Okada's a heel, but people love him. Then he says, but that's not the most egregious claim, because we got this Cockney cockhead who says, oh, I'm the best in the world, bruv. And the fans kind of started to turn on him now. And they're chanting bruv chants. And he said, interesting, Willie. Last time I checked, you haven't faced Jericho, Moxley, Cody Rhodes, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, Hiroshi Tanahashi. And I think he mentioned a couple other people. He says, you know who beat them all? Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. So the next time you want to come onto my show and lie through your disgusting yellow-stained teeth, watch your tone and check your mouth. Silly Billy, you ain't the best in the world, bruv. I am. I'm the guy who did the impossible. I became the face of AEW. I created some of the greatest matches, moments, and memories in the history of the sport. The most hated man walking this planet, only to become the most beloved. Death didn't happen by accident, babe. Imagine how I felt after healing my wounds. People had the audacity to try and smear my name. Revisionist history trying to change my legacy. That sounds better than it was, because I did not like this promo.
Here's the thing is there was some good in it. I mean, like, to me, the Will Ospreay part was fantastic, because he's like, look, I beat all these guys. I'm the best. You come in here thinking, but then it's the look at all the memories I've created. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge into the camera type of stuff. And it was just like, I thought we were told last week all this stuff is stopping.
I didn't like Cockney cock.
I didn't like Swerve. And see, that was just an aside. I get that, but see, it delves into a part where I had a problem with it, which was you need to be burying the ability of Swerve to beat you.
Yes.
And why he can't beat you. Not why he's a bad character. That works against,
or a bad promo,
or a bad promo. Exactly. It's like one of those things. I mean, you can do that occasionally for heat. I mean, I'm remembering like in the Midnight Express versus Tully and Arn feud. Tully came out and goes, "You need a lot to be a champion. You need to talk to the public," and he's just slapping Bobby Eaton, going, "Say something, because Bobby Eaton couldn't promo for anything. It was effective because it played into Bobby Eaton's image. I thought going after Swerve, and who else did he go after before that?
Okada.
I thought that didn't do him much good. I thought those were more.
I think this is more like he's poking fun at the new
insult comic stuff.
Tony's shiny new toys.
Yes.
You know, Swerve, the guy that took my belt when I was gone, and the two guys that he signed a big money contract.
Well, he brought that up when he talked about Tony, the mark, which I'm just like, oh, it's good. Just you know what? There's a better way to say this. It's like, look, Tony spent all this money on free agents, but I'm still the best one here.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, and just go from there type of a thing.
You know who made more money than all of them? That would have been okay. Yeah.
Yes, you know who was champion, and none of these guys are good enough to be champion, even if they're holding the title. Those types of things. Play within the world rather than kind of making sneaky. I mean,
you could have even gone with. I watched Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay have what everyone called the greatest match of all time between the two best in the world. Meanwhile, I wasn't in it. So how can it be the best?
Yes. And instead there was a lot of the I'm so marketable stuff. And that was the stuff that didn't hit for me. The stuff that hit for me was when, look, I don't mind the aside talking about, doing lame British jokes about not having good dentistry over there. Everybody does that. Simpsons did a great one on it.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where in terms of Ospreay, it was about who is the best, everybody, they just want to see who the best is. That was the promo part of it. That was the part where it was like, yes, these two should have a rivalry of some sort because MJF has beaten all these people already. Type of a thing.
I hope we get Ospreay rebutting this promo like he did to Triple H, because I want to see his response to what Swerve said. Or to what MJF said.
Boy, my fear is Ospreay's going to become like British Matt Riddle.
He might already be.
He might be, but I mean, he's a better wrestler. Don't get me wrong.
I was begging for Swerve or Ospreay to come out and interrupt this, but instead, we got interrupted by Roosh, and Roosh says, "MJF, like these stupid, ugly Americans, you never shut up. Listen to me, but listen well, pedo. While you've been gone, I've been here working hard, wrestling, winning. So now you come back, you get a big celebration. Where's mine?" First of all, he said he's been working hard and winning. He was gone almost as long as MJF was.
True.
He's won like 2 squash matches, but whatever. He says, "Where's my big moment?" And the fans are chanting, "What?" He says, "Now I'm going to take your spot because when you mess with the bull, you get the horns." And then MJF proceeds to bury Roosh. He says,
"This is bad.
I'm going to get any of that." And then he says, when that Mark was running this place, it was pretty rough, but now the Elite's doing it, it's even worse. He says, "I couldn't hear anything Rush said. Could you guys hear him? Can you run that by us again?" And then he starts to do his catchphrase again, and then MJF does The Rock.
Yes.
And says, "I don't give a shit what you had to say." It's like he said that one in his back pocket ever since he's watched Dwayne in the WrestleMania lead up.
He does that, and then he goes into the building thing like it's like, "Hey, I hired you, and you're a great champion." Yep. No, that doesn't work here. You have to.
Well, no. First, he said, "You come out here in your dime store suit, making your bank account dry like every woman you've ever slept with." So you have to get that out of the way before he puts him over. He says, "Some would call you a Nepo baby, but not me." And the fans start chanting it. And he says, "Don't chant that." He says, "You proved that wasn't the case when you sold out arena after arena. You came to the U.S. You became a Ring of Honor champion almost immediately. You came into AEW, bludgeoned the best the sport had to offer. But I'm not one of the best. I'm the best. I'm going to tell you how interrupting you made me feel, ah, cabron." And then he said some stuff in Spanish. Roosh rushed the ring and attacked him. They had a great brawl. I love the brawl. I like the brawl way more than I like the promo segment. And Chris Daniels was in the middle of it. Wasn't really terribly effective.
The brawl would be great. Here's your 2 problems. Number 1, you said he was a heel. He's up against a bigger heel here. Yeah, in my opinion.
Well, true.
And if this were Japan, it'd be lovely because Roosh would come in and just bulldoze MJF because he wasn't ready and had taken so much time off, and then we'd get the rebuilding story as MJF is a babyface, which would be awesome. And I'm kind of here for Roosh, but don't make fun of how he talks. You can't. The building him up thing is a studio promo. It's not an arena promo. If the guy's out there in front of your face, you don't do the "I have respect for you." It's a "I hate you and I want to beat you up" thing. That's all I want to see if 2 guys are standing at each other type of a thing. I don't want to hear them fluff each other for a bit. We're building the fight here. The fluff can come if he's with Tony Schiavone in the back and say, "Look, he's a great champion, but he ain't me," type of a thing. You got to know the moment for that. And this played into sports entertainment MJF. It really did. I mean, the Rock thing was correct. Yeah. This was.
I didn't mention he's also dressed like Triple H in 2000.
Yes, he's dressed like Triple H. He's trying to cut a Flair promo in a lot of ways, although Flair had a method to his madness when he was cutting down guys. You know, it was always like, you know, you don't have as much conditioning as I do, even though you got those big muscles, or you have like a scrawny neck or something. It was all about what weakness was this guy going to have when I get in the ring with him, type of a thing.
But
as
also
opposed
making
to,
sure to point out what he actually has going for him.
As opposed to, your character sucks, and here's why, and here's a meta description why, type of a thing. I really, this was a 50-50 promo for me in terms of good and bad, and I'm most disappointed that I don't get the hard-edged MJF
that
back.
He promised.
I get that I promised. Yes, that's you know, he's dressed the part to come out there, has the motorcycle jacket, the whole motif, ready to cut and say how much he hates people, how much he wants his stuff back, and blah 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 blah, and we go right back into the shtick. And I was just like, okay, fine.
At least we didn't get a donkey dicks chant. Although we did get the Nepo baby chant.
Didn't he try a donkey? I think he did. I think I got bleeped where I was.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Because, it got bleeped here too then. So then we got the video for the main event for tonight that we talked about earlier. It's Roderick Strong running up a mountain with the Kingdom.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
Again, this isn't a bad vignette, but it needs to come after about 2 weeks of building this feud or something like that. Where
we could have got 2 or 3 weeks of this.
Yes, we could have gotten 2-3 weeks, and then we end with him doing the random screaming stuff.
Yeah, he's running a mountain with the Kingdom. Nothing's ever knocked him back. As I stand near the summit, I can see the sunset. It's setting on the AEW title reign of Swerve Strickland, coming to the end at the hands of a wrestling legend. Swerve! Yeah, which we hadn't heard in a while, so I was kind of happy about that. And then we heard it about 8 million times, because I think someone told Chris Jericho to watch Roderick Strong and do it like 10 times more annoying, and he took those notes very well. Next up, this match, like, first time hearing about it, and I swear to God, like, I'm in the Discord every day. I had no idea this match was happening. I did a preview for the show at 3:00 this afternoon. This match wasn't announced. 4-way match for the #1 contender to the international title,
including the guy who just lost it on. Never mind.
Keep in mind that we also have a tournament going on with qualifiers to get into the TNT title match at Forbidden Door. We have the Owen that's supposed to start at some point. It's ending on July 11th. We don't even know when it starts, but and the winner for that's getting a world title match. There's probably a tournament I'm forgetting about. And then we got this randomly. And Kyle O'Reilly, who got a title shot on Saturday, is in this match. Daniel Garcia, who's been begging for an international title shot, can't get in this match. It's Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Jay Lethal. Well, I know why he's in there, to take the pin. And Ray
because
Phoenix.
He's awesome.
Yeah, and he's awesome, sure. He is great.
I love him.
And this was I gotta read this. Hang on. They posted something at the beginning of the match. They announced that it was the Woo Energy drink, something or other.
Oh, the photo with the words over it or whatever that you had? Yeah.
Experience Woo Energy. To be the man, you need a can. Fuel your jet flying days and limousine riding nights with Woo Energy, the official energy drink of All Elite Wrestling. This actually aired on the screen briefly. Some people thought it was like a Uncle Howdy kind of thing, like, because it was so quick and it was gone. What it was Excalibur's read, but they put it on the wrong screen because
production.
There's a reason WWE fired that guy. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. And I will say, later on in the show, I was questioning when Daniel Garcia's promo talking about how he wanted the international title. I said, well, how come he wasn't in the 4-way? Someone responded to me and said, no, that 4-way was for a shot to get into that TNT title ladder match at the pay-per-view. And I was like, no, it wasn't. But there's no possible way anybody that's not taking notes could keep track of all this stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. But whatever. We got this match. Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Jay Lethal, Ray Phoenix. It was an indie-rific spot fest. They're wrestling 4 completely different matches. Orange Cassidy's doing his shtick. Kyle O'Reilly's doing an MMA match. Jay Lethal's doing a Ric Flair impression, and Ray Phoenix is doing a luchador match.
Yes,
and it ends up at the end. Jay Lethal hits the lethal combination on Orange Cassidy. Then he hits the lethal injection on Kyle O'Reilly. He tries to do a figure 4 on Phoenix, but Phoenix rolled him up and got the pin. And everything else that happened was a bunch of fluff. There was a spot that was kind of funny where I think Kyle O'Reilly had Jay Lethal in some sort of a submission, and Orange Cassidy's doing his weak little leg kicks to try to break it up, and then Ray Phoenix just comes from behind and just jumps on him with both feet. That was hilarious. But other than that, it was...
we were back to the Pixies, so I was expecting a more harder core Orange Cassidy.
Okay, people are making this up. They just play whatever music they feel like playing. You know, I'm surprised they didn't play Jane when it was over. Well, no, he didn't win. So, but yeah, this match was it was fine. It was okay. It was a Rampage mid-card match. I don't know what else to say. Got anything?
It was a PWG special,
like a opener on PWG.
Yes.
Yeah, like this was. And for the amount of talent there was in this match, like this actually could have been a pushed main event. And they could have done.
I actually thought Jay Lethal was the guy who was like the rug in Lebowski. He brought it all together. I mean, he was the guy being smooth and really trying to get everybody on the same page. And I think that's why he was in there, to be honest with you.
Could be, and to take the pin.
Yes. Although I did love Sanjay is such a great flake manager.
I barely noticed him
cutting a promo. Well, he cut a promo at the beginning. Like
yeah. You're right, yeah. Then Don Callis comes out with Trent.
Trent in a suit. Dark suit Trent.
Yep. Callis tosses him a chair, and Orange Cassidy's about to get in the ring. Then he knows he's got a chair, so he goes under the ring and gets a chain. And then Callis pulled Trent back. All of a sudden, Chris Statlander walks in. She's wearing like a nun's habit attached to a bra. I think. Like, I don't know what the hell that was. But
don't know either.
Yeah, it looked weird, but she gets in between them. Stokely shows up. He's got a mic. He says, Sassy Stat's going to put her foot up your ass, and she slapped him. And then Orange wants to beat on her, and then Willow made the save, and it dawned on me, at the Double or Nothing post-show, Tony Khan promised we're getting mixed tag team titles. Well, here's your first mixed tag team title match right here. It's going to be Willow and Orange Cassidy are going to be the, or maybe Trent and Chris, but one of those two teams is going to be your mixed tag champs. Sammy and Taya and Ruby when she comes back with Angelo and maybe Saraya and her brother. Like, yeah, they got a whole division there, just waiting.
I'm a viewer who is not inclined to the intergender work. That's all I'm going to say.
Me neither. Yeah, but it's coming. It's coming.
I don't know why. We don't need other titles. It's just do the match. If we're gonna do this match, just do the match.
I don't even really want to see the match, but yeah,
I don't either.
I agree. But yeah, because it's all going to be about teasing man on woman violence, not delivering it. Yeah.
Willow will get
they
something on Trent, and that'll totally kill any need he needs to be in a main event stable like Don Callis.
Or Trent will actually hit somebody, and then
as the heat and get the win,
and then everyone will complain about it on Twitter, and all right, and
then I'll get yelled at. It's fake. It's like that's fine, but I still like.
Do you ever watch Supergirl? No, I don't.
No.
Jericho arrives in an SUV. Okay. I recapped all these segments, and it's the last time doing it. I got a thing, and it skips ahead 30 seconds on my PVR. I'm not watching these segments anymore. So next week, this is what I was talking about for extra work. You're going to be doing this.
He's turned into Eugene.
There was a Jericho segment. Jeff, go. Because I'm not watching this shit anymore after tonight.
So they get to the arena. He comes out. He goes, so you're a legally licensed driver.
I've been a valid holder of a driver's license for over 35 years.
Make sure you make a complete stop before exiting the vehicle.
Oh my God.
This has turned into so stupid. It's just...
and as he's doing it, he's talking about, I don't know, like 50% higher than you.
Higher, yes, he is really trying to sell it by talking really high.
Yeah, and enunciating every single word. And then he talks to Larry or Lonnie behind the camera. He says, I know a little something about being behind the camera too. So he takes the camera from him. Big Bill. Now, Big Bill, I got to say, was the best thing about these segments.
Oh, no. It was Brian Keith, but keep going.
Well, he was to start with, but then I
figured out and then he had nothing to follow up. I agree.
He's only got one line.
Yes, I know. That's the problem.
Yeah. And he's now the bad apple, Brian Keith.
That's fine.
So Big Bill, he's all smiling, happy, and
look at the beautiful day it is today.
Keith says the disrespect. If you respected Chris Jericho like you should, you wouldn't have a shaky camera. And then he tells the cameraman to follow him inside, and I just wrote, I can't take these segments.
I
didn't realize what was coming.
The disrespect line, it only goes so far, but
he's so passionate.
But Brian Keith being the dark cloud to this Silver Lining crew, I'm kind of here for. I'm kind of here if you could just make him surly. Just make him surly about everything. I hate parties.
Yeah, it kind of worked.
Grumpy Smurf.
Yeah. Well, we
I
got
hate
that.
cameras.
We got that later on too.
I know we did, but it doesn't have to tie back into disrespect for Chris Jericho. Just make him hate things.
Yeah. And
catering sucks.
And he is. I mean, his nickname is the Bad Apple. So.
I mean, if this is what I think it is, and this is somewhat of a commentary on CM Punk locker room leader type thing, then make Brian Keith the surly, snarky Punk type character within this thing, where he's just like bitching about everything and never happy about anything. I'm here for this. I hate Jericho.
It's the three faces of Punk.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Could be.
Look, Bill was great at being insincere. Oh, it's such a beautiful day, buying totally in. But but Brian Keith came out and it started strong. You were so right. It's like disrespect to Jericho. I was like, where has this guy been? I want him. But it was just like, I just love that everybody's trying to be happy and he's just gonna be like, meh, taxes.
And he's got a great mean face.
Yes.
Yeah, and it helps that he's like 3 feet tall. It works with this crew. So back from break.
Now I also want a Brian Keith Big Bill tag team.
Oh, we're getting it. I mean, they're going to be wrestling private party
that's
on
effective.
A rampage near you.
Can they win a match? That's my question.
Well, yeah. Brian Keith can pin Mark Quinn.
Thank you.
Back from break, Renee's with Willow. She asks where your head's at. She says, well, I lost to Mercedes at Double or Nothing. Now she's the TBS champion. Congratulations. But one day there will be a score to settle. I know, and she knows. I had her pinned for an 8 count. Now, Stokely, I didn't trust him as far as I could throw him, which turned out to be pretty far.
That line was great. That line killed me.
She said, but Chris, she was my girl. I'd have trusted her with my life, and she betrayed that trust. I always talk about this smile. This is my strength. But after being stabbed in the back, you don't know how dangerous that can be. And then Orange Cassidy shows up, and they bump palms, and there's your future AEW mixed tag team champions.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's coming. Okay. So next we got a segment. They announced that the interim EVP is coming out to announce a match. So he did an entrance just to announce a match.
Yes.
And he says on June 30th at Forbidden Door, we're going to crown a new TNT champion in a ladder match. Last week, I announced that there's going to be a bunch of qualifying matches that will take place. Funnily enough, he didn't mention the special rules this week. I assume they're still in place, but he didn't mention it. He says, we're going to have another qualifying match right here, right now in Loveland, Colorado. Who's in the match? We don't know. So out comes Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe.
I was so pleased. I was so happy to see Mark Briscoe on my television.
I would have been a lot happier if he wasn't the Ring of Honor World Champion.
I
don't quite understand that.
Leave that title at home. Let's just make it about the AEW titles.
You know what else? You know how many times he's been on Ring of Honor television since he won that belt?
I believe 0.
Correct. You would be correct. Not even a promo.
And then all my joy, all the joy and goodwill I had brought up to seeing Mark Briscoe on my television was deflated.
It's Brian Cage as
Good God.
Now, I assume this is going to be the gimmick now. Every week, we're not even going to know when these matches are, and Chris Daniels is just going to announce two random people.
It's AEW Mystery Vortex.
Yeah, I guess. And then
although apparently Hechicero has joined the Cage of Agony.
Yeah, I heard. Oh, and I think I don't know.
I think there's Hechicero then.
I think, and I bet you Jack Perry's going to probably end up wrestling like Marco Stunt or something. They'll bring him back for one show, and that's going to be his qualifier.
Serpentico.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, we talked about that last week. That John Cruz. It actually was Jordan Cruz. I think it wasn't John Cruz. It was a different guy.
I get those two mixed up. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know who Jordan Cruz is, but it's John Cruz. That's Serpentico.
John Cruz is Serpentico.
Anyways, this is all way more interesting than this match. Mark Briscoe and Brian Cage.
Cage grabbed a headlock.
Cage is like, he's on every show. I don't quite understand this.
Gotta get his money's worth. Today, he was off for a while.
He told somebody he's got 6 years left on his contract.
Yeah, no, they gave him like a 5 or 6 year extension.
Unbelievable. So
get paid, but you know.
They showed Takeshita in the crowd because I guess he won a match on Rampage.
Did they? I didn't see. I missed that part. Okay.
Oh, they showed him a bunch of times with Callis, and then they also showed Jack Perry watching backstage on TV.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Excalibur reminds us that Takeshita beat Penta to qualify, so that's good. I mean, they tell us what happened. At least I know who he beat. I don't know who Roddy beat.
How about a graphic, and then maybe like the other matches that are going to be part of this.
Because they have no idea. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be getting qualified for this thing right up until it's like the Casino Gauntlet. We don't know who's in it. We don't know how many people.
How many people are in this ladder match? 12,
15. I don't know. Every show, whenever they need a match, it's just
the other 11 people that were in the casino.
There you go. There you go. But the match was the match. I mean, it was like you said, it was kind of boring. After the break, it picked
up. Mark Briscoe was very good in this match, and he also saved his life by like hitting the merch that they had on front. He played with a couple of toys. That was nice.
I actually thought Cage was going to win. He hit his Weapon X.
I was afraid he was going to win.
Yeah, and then he hit his power bomb, and he got
because he's in a lot of these ladder matches as the base for a lot of guys.
Oh, he'll probably end up in it anyway.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's gonna be a last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, Briscoe hit a Death Valley driver. Then he hit the Froggy Bow. I would have bet $1,000 that Brian Cage was gonna kick out of that Froggy Bow, and then he was gonna hit him with the Dre Jiller. But he pinned him. Yeah. The match was over. I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Yeah, I was happy. It
was kind of like the Ray Phoenix win in that 4-way, where it was just like a roll up, and you're like, what?
Yeah. And then main event too.
Yes.
Usually Swerve has to hit like 6 finishers, and here he hit 1, and that was it. Because I even wrote last call, and I wrote and Swerve and Strong kicks out at 2, and then I was like, oh nope, match is over. Spoiler alert: Roderick Strong is not the AEW World Champion. All right, then they showed Perry clapping backstage, and he says, "Congratulations, you've officially qualified." But in the end, it's not going to matter because no one is willing to sacrifice more than me. Tony Khan can screw me over as many times as he wants. I've proven I can't be stopped. The universe has already chosen me in one way or another. I'm the next TNT champion. And Mark Briscoe was watching and he wasn't happy. But then he posed. He had his belt underneath the TNT belt. And he said, oh, that looks good. And then I guess he cut a promo backstage.
Cut a promo backstage with Alicia Tout. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's very good promo, too.
Yeah, and they could have aired that on TV instead of
one of
these 9 Chris Jericho segments, but they didn't. And maybe it'll be on Rampage. Probably it'll be on Rampage. Some of the stuff that's been good on social media lately, they've been finding a way to
playing
put it on
Fridays.
Yeah, and even Wednesdays. So that was good. Remarkable Renee was with Samoa Joe and Hook, and I wrote down she's wearing a jean suit. And she asks Joe if he's Hook's new mentor, and before he can answer, who should show up? But Tony needs
varsity athletes.
Arya Daivari and Mark Sterling. No Josh Woods.
No Josh Woods, no.
Yeah. And so he asks, he says something to Hook about, I can't remember exactly the insult he threw at him.
After all these years, you're still eating this crap. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Hook says, after all these years, you still losing matches. That was a good line. And Daivari says, you don't have your daddy to protect you, so you need the former champion. And they walk away. And then Joe says, cowards like that don't talk to killers like us unless they know what they're getting into. And judging by all the security around here, I think they did. And they cut away, and Joe is like looking off in the distance at something while they were doing all that. I don't know what. There's something going on behind the camera that we didn't see, but.
No, he did the thing where it's like if he didn't have all this security around, and so he was told to pretend that there was a lot of people that are keeping them from fighting. I think
if they weren't actually there, and he was just,
I think he was just imagining. I think he was just pretending. I think it was pretty good job.
He's a great actor. Yeah, he's a great actor. No, I love that. So we're gonna get this match, Joe and Hook against the varsity athletes at some point, and that's fine.
A main event in no arena anywhere.
Probably a main event on Rampage. Mm. So it's probably going to be this week on Rampage, honestly. We only got one match announced. So backstage again, Jericho's crew runs into 2.0, and he calls them 2 of my favorite branches. Your careers are bigger and better than ever. Daddy Magic, you're the lead commentator on Rampage. And then I think it was, he says, keep your face up and enunciate. Or no, that was Bill that told him that. And then Daddy Magic says, shove it up your ass. That was freaking great. That made this segment worthwhile almost. I wrote down Jericho shouting like Roddy Strong, and it's awful. And then I think, what did he say? When the baby is fussy. Oh, they're advising.
Take it easy.
They're advising. They're advising Angelo Parker on how to raise his baby. He says, so when the baby's fussy, give him something to eat and an activity. Do that, and your baby will always be happy. And then as they leaving, Brian Keith says, you make sure that baby respects Chris Jericho.
See, that line was lame, but if he had said, I hate babies, and just walked away, it would have been a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, I hate babies. Yeah, no, that was, but I laughed at the Keith. There's always something in these segments that makes me laugh, and then I get mad at myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Acclaimed come out. They get their intro. They call the EVPs extremely vague perverts. And immediately their mics get cut off as Max is still rapping. And they say, I think it was Matt, he says, you should have known better. Did you read the AEW employee handbook? Don't disparage your EVPs. We won't be hearing from the Acclaimed or seeing them tonight. Your segment is cut. And I'm like, how are these guys? This is where I was like confused because I don't understand why these guys are running the show and they didn't really explain anything. And that was that. I guess. See,
they're heightening without heightening. They're doing the whole. We're gonna cut segments of baby faces that people want to see now, and now we're gonna start screwing with it.
Does anybody actually want to see the Acclaim though? That's the problem. I'm not sure. So yeah, this was not great. Then we get Renee with Swerve, and he got kind of a mixed reaction. And they said in the main event, your world title's on the line. And he's holding an envelope. He calls MJF a little bitch. He says, you mentioned my name. I'll deal with you, but not in a way you'll like. And then he points out that the envelope is contract for the main event at Forbidden Door. Tells Nana to send it to the UK to one Mr. Will Ospreay. Don't worry, I'll cover the postage. Tells Roddy, you're dealing with the mountain of pro wrestling. I'm not just going to knock you off it. I'm going to bury you under it. What's been on my mind is the EVPs. Winning at Anarchy in the Arena. I was rooting for Team AEW. Next time you assemble a Team AEW to represent AEW, don't forget the AEW World Champion. Whose else? I liked most of this promo. I didn't quite understand why he is all of a sudden caring about not being in that Team AEW. Like, if he wanted to be in it, why didn't he just be in it? Like, I don't know why they brought that up.
I think because Blood and Guts is going to be the champions against the Elite.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So who would that be?
Swerve.
Whoever
Ospreay.
wins. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, and whoever wins that TNT title.
Yeah.
So it won't be Jack Perry.
So it won't be Jack Perry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe the tag champs, whoever they are at that time.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's a good idea. I never even thought of that. But yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and then
or the trios champs and the other two. You know, whatever you
want.
Oh,
the Acclaimed. Yeah.
You'd always do the Acclaimed. Yeah, you do the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, Ospreay, and Swerve if you want.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably it. We should probably just put that together right here. We got a video pack, or do you anything you want to add about the promo? I like the promo, the Swerve promo, most of it, anyways. No notes for Swerve.
The little bitch thing. I was just like, okay, we've gone from Sinister, and now we're back to Babyface. I would have rather just have.
It's weird the way the crowd reacted to him, and even in the main event, he was kind of mixed.
There was something a little off about it, and I find this is gonna sound so weird, but I find the Nana always bringing a coffee cup with him thing now distracting.
Yeah, me too. I didn't mention it. I was gonna write it down, and I thought, there's it's just a little minor thing, but yeah, it is weird. But,
if it's just to set up for a spit take or whatever, he throws it away and starts dancing. I get that. It's one of those things where it feels somewhat unprofessional to me. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just like it's almost like they're not taking it seriously type of a thing.
It's like that prop. It's like that prop that you just know is going to be used and it's never used.
Yeah, and it's not like in the Randy Savage way where he'd take a prop with him and it'd become part of the promo type of a thing.
Yeah, it's just kind of there. We got a video package for Stephanie Vacour. Mercedes cut a promo. I actually really like this promo. She put over the Japanese women as her superheroes. She said, since money changes everything, they created a whole new title with my name all over it. Rocky Romero basically confirmed it as part of the thing. They showed highlights of the previous match between these two. She said Stephanie didn't even know how good she was. She was fast, fierce, and violent, but I left her bankrupt. I rewrote my wrongs and captured the TBS championship from Willow. So, Stephanie, I'm coming for the title that was meant to be mine. And I thought, oh, okay, they're wrestling for her title. But then Excalibur said it's going to be title for title.
Yeah.
I kind of like this. I mean, it was her like, she had a point. She didn't stumble over a word. She didn't do the WWE speak. I really liked
it. I think I needed a little bit more from Stephanie.
I'm not sure she speaks English.
It doesn't matter. Just intercut a promo.
You could have done her in her Spanish.
This was a hype video with her, and it's like it's telling the story that I beat you once type of a thing, and she needs to go, hey, I want revenge for that. But I think they'll probably get there. They'll get there, but this was a good Mercedes.
They had a ton of highlights in this though too, which I really liked. Like they showed. I don't even think they've showed the injury part before, and they finally showed it here.
They've hidden it very well.
All right, next up was the 8-man tag, the Blackpool Combat Club versus Team CMLL, which is Volador, Magnus, Esfinge, and I believe the gentleman's name was Rugido, but I'm not positive. They didn't put a graphic up. Excalibur said his name a few times, but I wasn't even sure which one each one was. I mean, I know Volador. I kind of figured out who Magnus was, and that was kind of, by process of elimination, I was kind of figuring it out. This is Wheeler Yuta's return. At one point, they said it was the first time in almost 6 months, and then Tony said 145 days, which it's not quite 6 months, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And it was. I mean, they struggled at the beginning. They looked like they were going in slow motion for a while.
Language barrier, I would guess.
Yeah, but eventually they got there. The last part of the match after the commercial break was pretty good. They got into "This is awesome" chant at some point after being completely silent for the whole match. So I'm not exactly sure what that was about. Volador hit something called the Deja Vu on Claudio. Danielson nailed him with the Busaku knee. Rudigo rolled up Wheeler, but then Wheeler planted him down with almost like a Samoan drop. And then he clipped him in the seatbelt for the win. So Wheeler gets the big win. It was funny because I saw people thinking, oh, Wheeler's just there to take the job. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? These CMLL guys never win.
And that's the problem. I mean, who gives a crap about a Forbidden Door with CMLL if CMLL never wins a big match on AEW? They only win in Arena Mexico. And the weird thing is also the guy that you never know or who doesn't belong there is always the most, like Hechicero in the first one. Then Esfinge in this. Love that dude. Give me more of that guy.
Yeah, and then the guy that you barely noticed, Rudigo, is the guy that got pinned.
Yeah.
So
now they also needed to think. How do you not hype the return of Wheeler Yuta better?
Because it was the return of MJF tonight. That's why.
That's true.
There was one thing. A guy in our Discord who doesn't know the CMLL guys. He went to somebody who is an expert.
Okay.
Supposedly on CMLL.
Cubs fan?
No, Rob Viper.
Okay, Rob Viper. Okay, yeah.
So he asks about these guys, and he's like, "Are these guys like main eventers or whatever?" And Rob says, "Oh yeah, they're protected guys in CMLL, and they're not just there to do a job." So I looked up these guys. They're 10-10 in their last 20 matches as a trio.
Yes,
I don't think they're all that protected.
No.
Volador, I know, is a big deal. But the rest of these guys,
they're not Mystico. I mean,
these are dudes, and they're not here to beat the Blackpool Combat Club. You know what I mean? So,
this would be like them sending the Don Callis family to there and them going, "Oh yeah, they're protected guys. Big deal."
Maybe even a little lower than that.
Oh yeah, maybe Undisputed Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your group. Yeah. And then you would say, "Oh yeah, well they beat the Varsity Athletes." And they hold belts, so yeah. But I mean, its match ended up being pretty good. I mean, some might say it was the best match on the show. I thought it was the main event, but it was close.
I thought it was a lot of fun, but we still, I mean, this is still one of those things that I demand. I think we need to, we really need to figure out a way to rehab Mexican wrestlers on American television.
I agree. I mean, there's some of them have some credibility. I kind of want to see Volador and Danielson in a singles match, but I feel like we're probably doing a Blackpool Combat Club. I think Jeremy Finestone from the Speaking of Strong Style show is predicting we're going to get LIJ against against Blackpool Combat Club, and I'm here for that. I think that'd be a fun match. We got more Jericho shit. They're in catering. Someone named Branch, Jericho was teaching him how to scoop food. That's all I got out of this. It was not much. Like literally, he's showing him how to scoop food onto a plate. and as someone who's eaten in catering for over 35 years, I'm going to show you how to do this. So yeah, whatever. Then we got a video package for Daniel Garcia, just randomly appeared. He's in Buffalo. He's wearing a Buffalo Kids TV shirt. He talks about starting out and driving 12 hours to Maine for no money, then 7 hours across the border to Montreal. And then he got in a car accident, broke both his legs. But he says, I was grateful for that moment. I realized life was too short. And then he fast forward to today, and he took it upon himself to challenge Will Ospreay. And so I guess we're getting that Ospreay Garcia match at some point, but I'm not exactly sure why he didn't just join that 4-way if he wanted that title shot so bad. But I guess this is easier.
This is called they're trying to build him.
I guess, yeah. Maybe have him get a win here and there. But video packages are good. I'm not complaining about a video package, and this was a good one. It was just weird.
Yes,
like we never see stuff.
This
like
one was weird, and I thought the Roddy Strong one was weird.
Yeah, I bet you we're gonna find out that someone didn't show up for work, and they had to put some video packages on to cut some match. Like a match had to be cut or something. Like last week, we were wondering why that Mercedes match, just came out of nowhere, and it's because there was executives at the arena that wanted to see Mercedes wrestle, so they canceled the Mercedes Saraya match and
the Mariah May match, yeah,
or Mariah May Saraya, yeah. Anyways, back from break, or no, sorry, Acclaim show up to confront the Elite. They tell them that they suck, but then they tell them they're doing a good job, and then they call them jackasses, and this was bizarre. It was like 30 seconds, but it was like just stupid. I got nothing else.
Yeah, well, no, it was the. Oh no, I thought this was the prelude to the Christian thing, but you're right.
No, that was next.
Yeah,
that was next. Correct, yeah. So after a break, they come back, and the EVPs are still on their headsets. Christian Cruz shows up. He says, "If there's anyone I can trust to make the right decision, it's the EVPs. I was screwed at Double or Nothing. I carried this company for the last year. The patriarchy deserves gold, so I'm asking for another title shot." And Matt tells him, "You're one of the best stables in this company. If we had it our way, you'd all deserve gold. We give you a belt. We give Killswitch a belt. We give Nick Wayne a belt. But we saw last week, Tony Khan's little stooge screwed this whole thing up. But we still got some stroke here, so we'll see what we can do. For the future, how about you guys scratch our back and we'll scratch yours?" Christian shakes their hands. I knew I was getting into the right business. And then as they're leaving, they say, "Hey, Christian, what size shoes are you?" And he says 12. I'm calling bullshit on that. So they're gonna get them. They're gonna get him some shoes. He's a 10. Well, maybe.
What a weird thing to fixate on.
I don't know.
so the Bucks are going to screw this patriarchy somehow, right?
Oh, yeah. So they're going to be baby faces. I think Christian might end up with this TNT title.
As kind of an Edge tribute run?
Maybe. And then when Edge comes back, they team up again. I don't know. It's weird. They're clearly like neither of these two teams trust each other.
No.
But money goes a long way. Taz called
it a dangerous alliance. I love that. He goes, a little retro. And they quickly changed his mind.
Yeah. Their alliance, that's dangerous. Yeah, like I assume that's copyrighted. Oh my God.
Please don't sue us, Vince, or whoever. Yes.
Next we got Mariah May and Saraya. This match. So Tony's on commentary. Saraya attacked her early. Tony called her a cow. I pointed out that Mariah May was dressed up as one of the outcasts.
Yes.
Tony's telling her, "Smash your tits in." And then she says, "AEW, isn't that where the breast wrestle?" And Taz says, "Yeah, something like that." And Harley Cameron, Zach Knight were at ringside. Tony says Harley's talented, but she doesn't know at what. Wow. And Tony called Saraya and Zach Knight a tainted bloodline. They go to break. They come back. Crowd's silent. They're even doing the yay boo spot, and they're not even reacting. Tony says that Mariah is slapping the tits off Saraya. Mariah hits a top rope Rana. Then she hits a missile drop kick from the top for 2. Hip attack and a pin for 2. Then May is slapping Saraya in the breast. Saraya gives her a DDT for 2. Crowd bought the near fall. Mariah rolled her up for 2. Super kick by Saraya. Then she put her in her, I guess it's like, I think it was supposed to be the page turner, but it's got a new name now, and it wasn't whatever it was supposed to be. And I guess Mariah verbally tapped. It was a weird. The match ended up actually not too bad, but it was weird.
And it got even weirder because this whole thing is surrounded around boobs.
Oh, it got weird. Tony rushes the ring and covers her, and then Saraya attacked her. Harley joined in, so now they're baby faces again, and the crowd is silent for all this. And then who should show up but Mina Shirakawa? She runs down in the loosest dress. I have no idea how those things.
Mina Shirakawa and her boobs showed up,
but somehow, like the star of the night is whoever taped those things in. So she hugged Mariah, and then she stared at Tony. And then they start bumping chests, and Mariah broke it up and put them both in her boobs. Mina and Tony are wrestling at Forbidden Door. They tell us here. I guess the challenge was made on a Stardom show this weekend or something. But
yes.
They finally announced it here. And then they just focused on the 3 of them for a long time. And Mina's squeezing her tits into Mariah's face, and Tony's jealous. And it was literally just, On Raw, you've got Liv and Rhea fighting over Dominic. Here you got Saraya, or you got Tony and Mina fighting over Mariah. And
I want to respect this feud for the talent of women's wrestling.
But that's not what they're presenting.
No.
I mean, the match is going to be great.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Given their fan base is very, very, how do we put this? Very in tune with social issues, to present this feud like this and then to basically have to fight against.
Well, you know the funny thing
sexist dudes talking about boobs.
But you know what the funny thing is this is very consistent with what they do in Stardom, from what I understand. Like,
yes.
This is
how Stardom's a lot about
sexuality. Yeah. So for the people that you're thinking are going to not like this, I think they actually are going to like it.
Oh, no. I think lots of people are going to like it. Don't get me wrong.
And they're not going to like it because they're perverted. They're going to like it because it's sexually empowering.
Yes.
That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, we're going to get into that weird line that we always try and walk.
Yeah, because when Vince does it, it's
yes,
gross,
when Vince does it, it's exploitive. When we do it, it's empowering.
It's sexually empowerment. Yeah.
Yes.
But actually, that's probably true.
Well, it's true to a point.
Yeah. I don't think Tony's doing this to get off. I actually think Tony is doing this because
I don't think Tony. I think they're in charge of the gimmick. I think they're in charge of it. I don't think Tony's doing this for any reason. I think
he probably
this is Tony's sense of humor, or not? Yeah, Tony Storm's sense of humor.
Tony Storm's, and Mina probably.
Yes. Well, I mean, that was what half of AEW was about, was her boobs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
So maybe I gotta start watching this show. It was I'm not complaining. I thought it was
Mina Shirakawa is a very attractive woman. I'll just leave it at that.
And again, she hauled ass down that ring.
I was watching him going, man.
Yeah, no, and credit, they stayed in. More Jericho. He found, of all people, private party. And he says, these parties are more fun when they're not private. You should invite everyone. And you can change your name to Public Party. And then Zay says, I respect you, Jericho. Thanks, but no thanks. You don't quite fit our vibe. And then Brian Keith says, we didn't want to come to your lame-ass party anyways. Okay, you know what?
Come on, man.
I owe Brad an apology. Brad, I know you're not listening, but if you are,
Did I drive Brad off with my negativity?
One of us. But he was talking in the thing about he's turning on Jericho. But he said that Bill and Brian are delightful in these things. And I said Keith's a one-trick pony. Bill is pretty good. But as I'm recapping this, I think I'm wrong. I think Brian Keith is actually pretty funny.
Yes, Brian Keith is killing me on this.
Yeah. And then Bill says the people, I tried to write this down, but the people that need the advice the most don't want to take it or something. I don't know. His advice is so bad, but it's actually like not terrible, but it's the way he words it.
Yes.
It's something else. He's just he's having fun. So the punchline of all this shit is Chris Jericho invites Private Party onto TV time next week, and then they leave, and Zay is like making fun of Jericho. He's like, "Hey, everybody," and then Mark Quinn just kind of mutters under his breath, "That actually sounds like kind of fun."
One of them I thought put on a weird voice, but I guess that was just his voice.
No, that was Zay. He was making fun of Jericho.
Yeah.
He was doing the whole like, "Hey guys," like,
"Hey guys." Yeah, you just have to go into an upper register of your voice.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to recap that segment next week.
Okay, I'll start taking notes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Brian Keith was awesome. That's what I'll put.
And then I'm gonna have to go back and listen to Brian Keith. Yeah. All right. Next we got, swear to God, this might have been the best thing on the show. No, it was the best thing on the show. Bryan Danielson interview. He puts over Wheeler for being off that long and coming back and getting the big win. And he says, as for myself, I told everyone this is going to be my last year as a full-time wrestler, the most epic year of my career, but it hasn't been what I wanted. I fought for the TNT title against Christian Cage and I lost. Then I thought, okay, I'll go in the Continental Classic and I'll win that, but I lost in the semifinals. Then I go to the Tokyo Dome. Okay, I'm gonna turn around here, and I lost to Okada. Every big match, I lose and I lose and I lose. Mm-hmm. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was losing at Anarchy in the Arena. And I was just talking to Wheeler, and I saw how fired up he was to come back, and I realized my last year as a full-time wrestler ain't over yet. And then Tony Khan announces that the winner of the Owen was getting a world title match at Wembley, and I got fired up. And I'm going to win that thing, and I'm going to win the world title at Wembley. And I'm like, oh, my God. If Tony Khan, if Bryan Danielson doesn't win the Owen, Tony Khan has lost his freaking mind. He has got to win this tournament now, I think. There's no other way, right? Come on, Jeff.
If Nigel screws him.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I thought the plan was going to be Nigel and Bryan Danielson.
Well, that's what I heard too. But now I want to see Bryan Danielson going after the world title.
I mean, it's a great story.
Promo was so great.
You know what? Everything about those screams that, you have Danielson retire as champion, but at the same time,
no, I don't think he wins the title at Wembley.
Do. If he goes in for the title, he's winning it
against Swerve,
against whoever.
Yeah. I guess Ospreay could beat Swerve at Forbidden Door. But I just, after this promo, I was just like, oh my God, like Bryan Danielson's so good. Like that's all I'm saying. He's got to make it to at least the finals, right? Yeah, I guess you could get to the finals and then Nigel screws him somehow, and then they do the singles match.
Yeah,
and then that kicks off the Bryan Danielson Revenge Tour or whatever. I think Liv Morgan has that trademark, but twice on the show I've mentioned Liv Morgan. So yeah, did you like the promo?
I did. I like your idea. I mean, I do. I like him winning the Owen, and then going for the title and hopefully winning, but probably losing. Because
I don't expect him to win the title. He could. Well, you could have him win the title and then you rematch at Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, which is both their hometowns.
Or All In.
No, Tacoma, WrestleDome.
Yeah, I know, but they have a pay-per-view 2 weeks later.
Yeah, who cares?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. MJF, could. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe you do. You do a different title defense there or something like that. But I'm kind of really invested in this Bryan Danielson winning the Owen thing now. Now I want to know when this tournament is.
Well, see, that's the problem. If you get people invested in, they're going to want it.
Yeah.
They're gonna want the title win. They're gonna want the big feel good thing like they had in WWE in some ways.
After this promo, Tony Khan probably went to Bryan. He's like, "Dude, you weren't scheduled to win. Now you fucking
now you're screwed me."
Yeah. No, I actually think that he probably is gonna win the Owen now. I don't know. I hope so, but we'll see. I think Mariah May is gonna win the women's one. Is probably my guess. To face Tony, probably, but we'll see.
I think there may be a surprise entrant in that one.
Oh, what? A Hart?
Not Natty, not that big of a surprise. Although I could see WWE making a deal where she can do it like on a free agent basis since her contract expired. One match she probably loses to Mercedes in the tournament.
Oh,
or something
or
like
gets
that.
the finals. But I was
thinking Britt or Hayter.
Oh yeah, or she could get to the finals and lose in Calgary.
I mean, but Mariah's British, so maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do people want to see Mariah? Do people want to see Mariah versus Tony on that big of a stage?
I don't think they want to see it yet. I think they do at some point, but not yet. All right, so we get to the main event. Roderick Strong and Swerve Strickland for the AEW World title. Not a contenders match. It's a and Tony talked about the dominant win on Saturday. No idea who he beat. I had to look it up, and it was Leo Rush. They announced here that on Rampage, and I got ready because we're going to get our Excalibur rundown here of upcoming matches, and Serena Deeb and Mina Shirakawa on Rampage, and that
ought to be an interesting match.
Yeah. Well, it's what they do every time, right? Whoever lost the world title match at the last pay-per-view, now in the next cycle they're losing the next contender.
Yes,
but it should be a good match. I'm interested to see how Serena is going to handle the Mina nonsense.
Yes.
And so I'll probably watch this thing in like 3 weeks, but I'm looking forward to it. I noted that they were working pretty slow, even though there wasn't much time left in the show, at least before the break. Everyone was at ringside, Taven, Bennett, Nana. They didn't really get involved much. There's one point, I think, when Swerve went to try to attack Taven and Bennett, and then Strong got the advantage, but it wasn't really that Taven and Bennett were doing anything. They went to commercial. They come back. There's 5 minutes left in the show. Or no, they went to commercial with 5 minutes left in the show, came back with 2 minutes left. And then it's like, okay, they're doing an overrun. But I don't know how long they went over, maybe like 5 minutes. They traded a bunch of stuff. Roddy did a suplex on the outside, onto the ring apron. That looked nasty on Swerve's back. Rolled him into the ring. They trade slaps and forearms. Strong hit those running elbow strikes that he does on the ropes. And then he hit a backbreaker, got a powerbomb for 2. Then he hit his running capo kick for 2. Fans were not even reacting at all to the kickouts because I don't think they bought that Roddy was going to win. Brawled on the apron, thrust kick by Swerve, and then he hit the Swerve stomp on the apron.
There was a line Shivani had, though, before this match. It was like, oh, it's such a rarity to see the world champion wrestle on television.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, we just saw this last week.
Every week.
Yes.
So he wrestles every week. So he missed a house call, then he hit it, and I was expecting a kick out, but nope, he got the pin, and that was it. And then they went over the lineups again, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get all these matches, and they announced the Rampage match again. Then they announced Dynamite next week, Will Ospreay and Phoenix for the international title, and that's it. That's all we got.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, show's over, and we got no idea what's on Collision. I mean, for all I know, there is no Collision on Saturday. Sometimes it doesn't air. Like, I don't know. Maybe. Like, is there?
If Collision falls in the woods and there's no one around, does it make a sound?
Well, sometimes it doesn't air because of the playoffs and stuff, right? So it's possible it's not airing. I don't know.
Are the Stanley Cup Finals on TNT?
They start on Saturday.
Yeah, I know they start on Saturday.
They are on TNT. I think they are on TNT.
Well, maybe it's
not airing.
Yeah,
who knows? But yeah, they didn't say anything, so it's possible it's not airing. And yeah, we'll find out.
Go Florida. Gotta keep that cup away from Canada at all costs.
I put a prop bet down on November 12th, which is the day that the Oilers fired their coach, and they were almost in last place. And if the Oilers win the cup, I win $5,500. So
you ain't winning $5,500.
I'm pulling for the Oilers.
I know you are. You have a financial investment, and I completely.
But I'm looking for a cash out option, and they're not giving it to me. And
no, they're not.
I'm a little upset about that. But yeah, so that was Dynamite, and I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going in. The wrestling was mostly pretty good. There was nothing bad. Like, I was expecting the Mariah May Saraya match to be bad, and it was actually okay. It was good. I mean, it's probably the worst match in the show, but it wasn't bad by any stretch, and everything else was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, it was fine. But it felt weird. Like, it felt like a WWE show, like, in a lot of ways.
In some ways,
with different wrestling. Like, the wrestling was different. Like, I will give them that. Like, whether you like it or don't like it, it's definitely different. But the actual production and presentation and everything, very WWE-ish. like on a lot of this stuff. So I'm and whereas WWE is doing things differently now, it's very weird. So I don't know. You seem distracted.
I'm a little distracted. Sorry, I'm playing.
No, that's fine.
At the same time.
That's fine. Oh, somebody said it's terrible. What? Oh, Jericho. Yeah, I you know what? I was expecting a lot of hate from my tweet about Jericho, and so far, none.
Yeah, no, no, it was a fine. Yeah, it was a fine, but nothing special show, and the stuff that I thought was going to be a little bit more special wasn't. I mean, it was fine. I mean,
we're building the Forbidden Door, and
we're kind of building the Forbidden Door. It doesn't feel like a build. It just feels like we're putting people on TV to say things.
Well, and it's like we're getting all these AEW versus CMLL matches to build the idea of seeing more of them on the pay-per-view, and but yet I have a feeling the matches we're going to get on the pay-per-view are going to have nothing to do with the matches we're seeing on Dynamite.
Yeah, and I'm God, it's so weird that they're plugging Forbidden Door as CMLL being a part of it because of the whole Stephanie Vaquer thing, and then CMLL comes out there and they just get beat every friggin' time. It's like, okay.
You know what? Oh, you know what's weird? And I never mentioned this, and this is kind of a big deal. We saw on this show, in the 4-way, we had Rey Fenix in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Who is
a
AAA wrestler.
AAA.
And then we got CMLL wrestling on the same show. So this is a change.
Well, it may not be a change. It may just be they didn't realize it.
Maybe. I mean, they advertised both. No, you know what? That 4-way, they never advertised ahead of time.
They never advertised that ahead of time.
Yeah. So maybe they're going to be in trouble.
They might be in trouble.
Yeah. So we'll see.
And they also had Roosh out there.
Or it could. Well, no. See, it's fine for them to do promos, but they're not allowed to wrestle on the same show.
Yeah, and also, Phoenix won, and the CMLL guys lost.
Yes.
That could be problematic.
But the other thing I was thinking, because it looked like, okay, we're obviously getting MJF and Roosh at some point. And I'm like, well, it's going to be on TV because it can't be on the pay-per-view because you can't have CMLL and AAA on the same show. But now I'm thinking maybe we are going to get MJF and Roosh on the pay-per-view.
I think that's going to be the match.
So if that's the case, then we're going to have AAA and CMLL on the same show.
Yes.
Yeah, promoted ahead of time. Unless they put it on the buy-in or unless they
Tony's paying somebody off. Tony's giving somebody money to feel better.
CMLL probably.
CMLL probably, yeah.
Yeah, or New Japan. Because
he's already doing that, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. I'm glad I remembered to mention it because honestly, it might be the biggest actual news that come out of this show, other than the fact that Jericho has jumped the shark, and jumped over it again. He's gonna actually do he's gonna talk about jumping the shark at some point, like. Totally,
See, they've already done a shark joke with MJF and Adam Cole with the janitor, and there was like a shark in the kiddie pool or something.
Yeah. Did I tell you when I was in Vegas, I had a dream that Chris Jericho was cutting a promo, and he was at a pasta place, and he was eating all this pasta and talking about how he loves his carbs because they give him this great dad bod that everyone loves so much. This was in my dream. And
why did you feel the need to tell us your dreams?
Someone told me it was an alcohol and carb infused dream.
That's a possibility. Okay.
Yeah. So I have not had any dreams about Jericho cutting promos on me since Vegas. So I think there's a little bit of truth to that. But
this show's gone off the rails. Let's end
it. It has. Get your plugs in.
I do a show called Shake Them Ropes with Chris Novembrino over on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. This week, we're going to preview NXT's PLE live from the Apex in Vegas. That's going to be a very interesting show, especially given Jordan Grace's involvement in it. And the
rumors about WWE and TNA.
Yeah, there's a few rumors, and I think there's some stuff that would be great there, and there might also be some money changing hands there, keeping TNA afloat. But yeah, they'll drop sometime later this week, probably on Friday or Saturday.
Awesome. And I did a show, Joy Wrestling, a couple days ago with my buddy Draven, our old friend from the F4W days, talking about that. The early days of the F4W convention. So that was a lot of fun. I'll have another show this coming week. I haven't lined up a guest, but it should be on Monday. And in the meantime, keep our family in your prayers. My daughter Emily has her spinal surgery on June 17th. So there's a possibility I won't be doing this show on June 19th. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll probably
I may not be doing the show on June 19th. I'm going to be in Vegas for the World Series of Poker, so we'll see.
Well, yeah, then maybe we'll take a week off, or maybe we'll get Kevin to do it or something.
We get Kevin and James to do it.
Oh, there you go. All right. So for Jeff, I've been Paul, and this has been the Dynamite Show.